Now today we'll see how to declare function with parameters. Okay, let's say you are doing some program. Okay, and you got a value. You got value equal to 32, and you got value 2 equal to say 64. Okay, you want function to use these values, not its own set of values. You want function to use these values, right? So first we need to define the function, isn't it? F, say func1, and if you have to read two values, you will mention x comma y. Okay, when I say func1 x comma y, that means function 1 expects two values. Function 1 expects two values. It expects two values. Now, again, you declare just the way you declare, and you can say sum equal to x plus y, and you say return sum. Okay, func1 x comma y, sum equal to x plus y, return sum. This is the function I've written. Now you see this function 1. Till now we've been using bracket open and close. We were not passing any value. Now we are also passing values to this function. Correct? We are passing values to this function. So when I run it, okay, I have to, let's say it is giving me return, right? So I have to use a variable name, right? So I say result equal to. Now function, func1. Okay. Now here I have to pass x and y value. Okay. So I will say val1 comma val2. Okay. Now when you run it, okay, result, but I need to print the result, right? Print function return result. Function return result. Right? So you see, you get 96. Okay? This is first type of function that we're talking about. Okay? So if you see this function here, func1 takes two, okay, we call it as mandatory. Okay, there's another name. Required. Okay, takes two mandatory or required parameters. It takes two required parameters. Now, if I try to call func1 without passing val2, let's say, when I run it, you get error. Okay, it says missing one required positional argument y. So the first value, val1, went to x, but there's nothing to give it to y.
Yes.
Y did not get any value. So when you're passing here, right, it does left to right matching. So leftmost will go to leftmost, second will go to second, third to third, so on. So here value 1 got automatically assigned to x, but y is not having any value. So it's giving us error. Function 1 missing one required positional argument. So there are two keywords here. Required positional. Okay. What does it mean? Required means y is required, you have not given. Positional means okay, x will take x, y will take y.
Yeah.
And you have not handled the position. Okay.
Yes,
so you get error. So you have to pass two values here. Okay, let's do it fast. Run this program. Write and run this program.
Yes, sir.
So now write a program write a program to input three values, okay, three integer values. Write a function to take three integer values and perform basic mathematical operations and return the largest value. Okay, so write a program to take three integer values, okay, and perform basic mathematical operations, all the basic math, plus, minus, into, division, okay, and then return the largest value. Okay, so if I call F1, if I pass 5, 6, 5, 4, 0.00. Okay, so this is the example of required positional argument. So you see, required means we have to pass values to all the parameters. You have three values, three parameters, so you have to pass three values, right? And also, order is also important. What I pass first will go to A. What I pass next will go to B. And then what I pass last will go to C. Isn't it? So it will be left to left, middle to middle, right to right. Okay. As name suggests, required and positional. Now, there is another version of it where required is not required. So it becomes default. Opposite of required is default. So we'll have a function where required is not required. We'll have to pass default values. Then we'll also see how to make position not important. Okay. So this is first example where it is required and positional. Now, if I do same thing here, okay, if I make y equal to 5, okay, it becomes what is called as default function, default argument. Default argument means if you do not provide value to y, it will take 5. Okay, in this case, I'm providing value 2, right? Now, let's say I don't provide value 2. So now value will go where? Value 1 will go to x. There is no value I'm providing to y. In this case, what is output? 32 plus 5, 37. Okay, because I'm not passing, so it's taking default value as line number 1.
5, sir.
5.
Yes, sir.
You're taking default value as 5. You are lost today. Default value as
5. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if I do, okay, no, if I don't, if I pass value 2, okay, in this case, it will take 64 only. Default value is taken only when it does not get from the calling function. Called function definition is also called called. We are calling this. And from where we are calling is called calling. So if you do not call, it will take default value. But if you are calling, then it will take the one that you are passing to it. So if there is a value in the calling function, then it will take the value which is coming. But if it does not get, well, then it will take default value. Right? If I want to make X as default and Y as mandatory, required. Okay? So what should I do?
Leave val1 and
I have to call Y value 2.
yes, sir.
Delete value 1. Correct?
Yes, sir.
It will work. But what did I say?
But still, X will take this value too, sir. Now
Exactly. X will take this value.
again, Y will not have
Y
value.
will not take this value because I told you position is also important.
Yes, yes, yes.
Position is important. So leftmost will go to leftmost. Is
Yeah.
there a value for Y?
No.
Okay.
Yes,
There
sir.
is no value for Y. It is going to give us error. So logically, this itself is wrong because if Y is mandatory, I have to pass for Y. I have to pass two values, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Then what's the point of declaring X? There's no point of declaring X as default. You understood what I'm saying?
Yes,
If
sir.
Y has to be mandatory, that means you have to pass all the values up to Y. There's no point of making these as before one as default. So if you have, let's say, multiple values, okay, if I want to make Y as default, I have to make everything as default. I cannot have all this default and not make C as default. Okay, if I want to make Z as default, then everything after Z has to be default. Otherwise, you can't. It is not logically not possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay, logically, it is not possible to make Z as default if you do not make ABC as default.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So, if you want to make C as required, then you delete C and put it somewhere here.
Okay.
Correct?
Now X will take val2, C will take val1.
Correct.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now modify the program, same program which we have done. Okay, don't change it. Okay, copy and paste new one and give ABC as default value as 0. Okay, modify this program, give ABC as 0. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, I told you that order is also not important. Order is also not important, right? How can we make order not important? Okay. So see, okay, this example, print send Y, X and Y. Okay. So you are getting 34 and 64 and 32. Correct? Let me put Z also. Okay. X, Y, and Z. Okay. And I say X, Y, Z. Okay. Z. And I will put value 3 equal to So what is happening? X is taking which value?
Val 2.
Value 2, because that is on the leftmost.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's say I put here Z equal to. Okay. If I put something equal to, everything after that has to be equal to. Okay. If I say, okay, let me do this. Z equal to. Okay, I say Y equal to. Now what happened?
X is val 2.
You tell me what happened. Without printing, how can you say what happened?
It mixes up the values, and Z is equal to val 1 and Z is Y is equal to val 3, right?
If you use
While X
the
is equal to
same parameter name, see earlier we were not using same name, we were using some variable. Okay, we were using some variable, so it was getting assigned from left to right by position. But if you're using same argument name, same parameter name, argument name is same, X, Y, Z. So I'm saying Z equal to, okay, left side, right side doesn't matter, okay. Now here I can say X, Y, Z, okay. I say X, Y, Z, and here I say Z, Y, X. Doesn't matter variable name, it will still take the order. So 4, because X will take the first value. Value of Z is 4, and value of Y is, and X is, so Z is taking value of X, which is 32. It doesn't matter which variable, it can be same, it can be different. It can be same name or a different name. But the difference comes where when you mention something here, Y equal to, Z equal to, X equal to. Now what does this do is,
Y takes 4.
see, if you put equal to in the function definition, it becomes default values. But you put equal to the calling place, it becomes non-positional, or known as keyword argument. Okay, keyword. It is looking at the keyword arguments. Okay, non-positional. What is non-required becomes default arguments. Non-required, right? So when you say equal to, the definition becomes default values. When you say equal to in function calling function, it becomes keyword arguments.
Okay,
In
sir.
keyword arguments, whatever you value you assign, that it will take. Okay, order doesn't matter here. Just like default, I can delete this. If I delete this, then what will happen? The value of Y will get assigned to X.
X.
Value of Y will get assigned to X. So when I run it, you see, it says got multiple values because Y also getting assigned to X and X is also getting assigned to X.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
So
sir.
if I change it to Y, then it will work fine. Correct?
Okay, sir.
So when we do this advanced programming, right? Visualization, machine learning, you'll see the function will have many parameters. many parameters, 10, 20, 30 parameters. We don't have to pass all 30 parameters. Okay, so what happens? Most of the values will have default values, and we don't have to remember the order also. See, if this was not there, keyword was not there, then we have to remember the order also. Oh, first X comes, then Y comes, then Z comes. But if you assign this keyword argument, the order doesn't matter. Okay, you can give it in any order that you want to.
Okay, sir.
Make sense?
Yes,
Okay, so write a program, same program you modify, where you're passing values in a different order. Copy paste, do it. Function definition will not change. It will remain as it is. When you're calling, it will change. Okay?
Yes, sir.
See, I'm doing example with integer values, but you can do with list, tuple, dictionary, set, float, string, boolean, everything is allowed. Okay, tuple, everything is allowed. Okay. Then, okay. Now we will see. Okay, so see, what we have seen so far is each variable is taking one value only, right? Now we'll see an example where you can assign multiple values. Okay, so to do that, okay, let's say I have to declare function. I'm going to say F2. Okay, and F2 function. Okay, and let's say I say return 0 for now. Now, here we have to declare values which can hold multiple values. So if I say X, comma, Y, comma, Z, then what will happen? It will take 3 values, right? So one way is you put star here. When you say star, it can take multiple values, and values will be in the form of tuple. Value will be in the form of tuple. And you can put double star here, and values will be in the form dictionary. Okay, dictionary. I'll just give you how. So let's say I call F2 and I pass 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I say print. Now it is only a type of declaration. Inside you will use like normal variable only. Print X, print Y, print Z. Okay, let me put Z. Okay, so what happened? What value went to X? So this is F2, and this is where I'm calling F2. What value went
First
to X?
value into X, sir. 5. First value into X, 5.
First value, because it is of type what? Positional required.
Yes, sir.
Position first required, right? If I give X equal to here, it becomes keyword. If I say X equal to 4, then it becomes default. So here 5 went to X. Now second star is for tuple. So every other value went to Y. You see that? When I print Y, it says 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Simple bracket. All the values went to Y. How does it know that we have to go up to 10? Why not Z? Why Z is empty? Why not Z has any value? Z is taking? Yes, it is expecting us to give key and value. So if I say here, name equal to Sachin, age equal to 48. Okay. What happened? Why there's error? cannot contain assignment, perhaps you meant. Okay. The key will not have quotation. Okay, it is like a variable name. Okay, it is like a variable name. Key will not have quotation. Variable name will not have quotation. Now when I go and run this, you see this? The variable and value got converted into dictionary. I cannot put the 5, 6, 7 on the left, 8, 9, 10 on the right. But it is going by position by order. All single values went to tuple, and all equal to went to
Dictionary.
So you can assign any number of values to a variable. Automatically, it is taking it as variable like tuple and dictionary variables. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So write a program. Write a function to read student roll number and student marks in each subject. Students. For the student. Okay. Using variable length argument. Okay. Okay. So there are few things that to keep in mind. Okay. Whenever you're writing the function, right, it is always good practice to write multi-line. Look up here on the screen, please. Okay. So when you say def, right, function name, colon, immediately after colon, whatever function you write, okay, whichever type you write, immediately after colon, you should write some comments. This is a function to do nothing. Okay. Nothing is important, so I am doing nothing. Okay, it's always good practice to do that. Why? Now, if I type here F2, okay, so you see the definition here, okay. Now, instead I'll say help and I'll say F2. Okay, every function will have help. You see this, whatever you type here is printed here. Okay, so help on function F2 in module main F2 XYZ. Okay, function name and the argument. This is a function to do nothing. Nothing is important, right? So it is always, it's called help text, or also called as doc string. What do we call this? DOC, doc string. Okay, documentation string, doc string. It is always in multi-line comment. That means you have to use single quotation or single triple or double triple. Okay, it is always after. So if you put in anything after first line, it will not called as doc string. Doc string is always written first line in the function. Okay, you have to do it. It's not mandatory, but you have to do it because see, when you write a function and I'm trying to use it, how will I know what function is it? right? So if you want to see the help of print, you can say help print. Just print, no bracket, no nothing. Okay. So it will tell you what print does. Okay. So the developer of print has done this. So this is how print function is written. Okay. This is how print is defined. Okay. And this is the help text of print. Okay. You can put any function here, input, and you run it. So documentation goes as your help text. Okay, always add help text to your functions. Okay, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, always do that. Okay. One more concept I want to do before we wrap up on the function side. Okay. Okay, so let's say I'm defining here my variable equal to 999. I'm calling a function after defining the variable. Okay, now let me do it before the variable. Def my function print my variable. Okay, when I run it, okay, this help is coming, right? Let me, or let it be, so what? Okay, now I'm going to call my function f1. Okay, see, it is printing 999. I am defining a function, but this variable is outside the function. We call it as main function. It is in main function. Okay, so it is able to read the values in the main function. Now, if I call this before my variable, okay, you get error. What is the error? My variable not defined. Why? Because I'm calling the function before the variable is defined, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what is the first line? Okay, 46 will be called, then 44, 45, then 47. So it doesn't know what is my variable, right? So, okay, if I have to do it, I can do it here. Okay, so you see again, 999. Now I can define my variable here also. So when I run it, it will take the inner my variable. Look here, it will take inner my variable. Now you can ask me that my variable was defined before, why it is not, it could be taking, it could be using the before one also, right? Now to know this, okay, let me do this. I'm going to cut it and paste it after printing my variable. So what do you expect here? What should this be printing?
999.
999, right? But it will not print 999. Okay. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So see, it's like this. So this is main function, right? And this is our inner function, right?
Yes, sir.
If you have a variable inner function, then it is not going to read the outer function. Okay. Now let's say if you do not have a dog at home, okay, and ask you, and your neighbor has a dog. So if I ask you get the dog, you'll go and get your neighbor's dog, isn't it? Because we know that you don't have a dog, so you'll go and get your neighbor. So here, when I'm saying print my variable, it is going and getting neighbor's dog. Okay. But when you have it yours, if I ask you, then what you will say? You will get your own dog, isn't it? Now, again, now let's say you're going to buy a dog tomorrow. So this is today, and you're going to buy a dog tomorrow, day after. So that is you have planned for it. I'm asking you, get your dog. So you say, I'm going to buy tomorrow. I will show you tomorrow, not today. Understood?
Yes,
So
sir.
when you have a variable in the main function, it is accessible to all the functions. The function which is in main is accessible to all the function. Function declaring in a variable in a function is not accessible outside. Okay, if I declare my variable 1 here, okay, and if I try to print my variable 1,
It won't print.
it won't print. See, you don't say my variable 1, it will not print. Okay, so variable inside a function is not available outside the function. Now you can have a function inside a function. Okay, you have my variable -1, and I can have def my f2. Okay, and I'm saying print my variable 1. Okay, what happened? What happened? So look at the first few things. First of all, the function that we write from beginning, okay, from line numbers, column number 0, right, very first position, that though we don't call it as function, it is your main function. It is your main function. This is called main function. You can declare. So when I say my f1, I'm declaring a function inside my main function. So variables which are available outside is accessible inside. So my variable is a global variable because I've declared in the main, and it is accessed by inner functions, all the functions. Okay. Now in this case, if you see, I've declared my f2 inner function of
my function f1.
Right? So that's why when you call my variable 1, it is not giving error because it can read my variable 1, it can read my variable also.
But why is it not printing, sir?
It is not printing because you have not called it. You have to call it, no, to print
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I got it.
Right?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
calling my f1.
Yeah.
When I'm calling my f1, only my f1 is available. My f2 is not available.
Okay.
Right? How do I call my f2?
Simply my f2.
No. My f2 is inside my f1. So only
My f1 dot my f2.
call. Only, okay, my f2 can call. But see, the problem here is I'm calling it before it is defined.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you see red line. So what I'll do is either I'll move this up or I'll move that down, right? So let me move this up. So now my variable 1 is, no, what is the error? Okay, my variable 1 I'm declaring here out.
Yes, sir.
Right? So see, -1. You can declare a function inside a function. When you declare a function inside a function, only the outer function can call that function.
So, sir, out of this my function f1, my f1, can we call my f2? We are defining it inside my f1, no,
What
sir.
I'm saying, you're asking me, I'm saying only my f1 can call f2. You're asking me, can f2 be called by f1?
Okay.
Listen to me first, okay? When I'm talking, please listen. Okay, when I'm done, then you ask me question.
Okay, sir.
I'm saying inner function is accessible only to the outer function. Only my f1 will be able to call my f2.
My f2.
Okay?
Yes,
Why
sir.
then? Why do we need inner function? So it's because when you're writing a function, you might feel need of writing inner function. Like for example, if you're trying to convert temperature from one unit to other unit, okay? So Celsius to Fahrenheit to Celsius. For the user, I can call this as temp convert or something. Okay? this could be using C2F or F2C inside. So if you are giving Fahrenheit, it will convert to degrees Celsius. If you are giving degrees Celsius, it will convert to Fahrenheit. Now, this could be using, okay, so maybe you are giving something like this. To call this, I'm calling temp conf, and the value, comma, 0 if you give, okay. So now this will have like temperature, comma, unit. Unit by default is a 0, right? And here, okay, if you want to, okay, now I'll say if u equal to 0, call F2C, okay, else call C2F. You get what I'm doing here? Tell you what I'm doing here.
Now I'll be able to call F2C.
Okay. So how do you write documentation for this? Write documentation for this, right? So I'm going to say documentation for this is this function converts, okay, temperature value from one unit to another. Okay. Input parameters. Okay. You have T, comma, U. Okay. T is the temperature value. C indicates the current unit of temperature. Okay. Default value is 0. Okay. I can say here 0 indicate, okay, what I'm doing 0 for 0, I'm doing F2C, that means Fahrenheit. 0 for Fahrenheit, I don't know the spelling, but that's okay. Heat to Celsius. 1 for Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay. So instead I'll do print you gave me Celsius temperature and I converted to Fahrenheit. Okay. And here I will say you gave me Celsius, right? Your homework is to complete this program. Okay. Now you say this. Now I have declared a function which is temp convert. So as a user, you don't have to know how the conversion is happening. I am giving 100 and 0. So when I run it, so see, you gave me Fahrenheit and I converted to Celsius. When I say 0, it became Fahrenheit to Celsius. Since default is 0, so if I don't give anything, it will still convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, right? If I make it 1, then you get Celsius to Fahrenheit. You get it? So from user perspective, you don't have to know what your function is doing, right? And this I'm only interested in the main function. I don't care what is inside. Correct? Inside a function is calling some function.
So sir, what would you like us to do with it?
I'm sorry?
What would you like us to do with it?
No, I'm just printing it, right? Now you write the formula. You look at the formula, how to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius, Celsius Fahrenheit, and if I give 100, it should give me the equivalent value. Got it?
Oh, okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. So I've just written a placeholder. I have not written the actual formula to convert, right? So I want you to complete this program by writing the formula in these two places. Okay, copy it fast. In this case, I am not bothered to know how this function is doing, which sub function is calling. Okay, as a user, I'm 62. I don't care. But as a when you define your function, you should know, right? Okay, I can have multiple functions. I can call multiple functions using the user input. Pujita wanted to know how to call the function directly, right?
Yes,
So,
sir.
is when we don't know or we don't want to know. Here, I don't care whether you are using some functions or not. Okay? Sometimes what they might tell you is in the documentation. Okay, so I'm going to copy this whole thing again. Okay, so let's say this, and here I don't want to do 0 or 1. I will say C indicates, okay, and you say C to F. C to F, no, F to C, right? F to C, right? And here I'm doing C to F, okay? Now there's no default value here. Directly, I am giving the function name. I'm saying, okay, this is Fahrenheit, convert this into F to C. Now see here, I am not calling what I'm doing. I'm not calling I'm calling temp conf, right? I'm calling temp converter, right? And I'm passing this value just like I would do a variable. Just like I would do a variable. So I'm going to say okay, this, and here I'm going to simply say I'm going to delete all this, okay? I'm going to say U bracket open and close. Let's see if you work fine or not. Okay, error. Oh, my screen, okay, just my screen becomes. Okay, now let's say I have this function, okay, and I need to call these two, which is outside, okay, not inside this. So I have C, I have F, okay. Now I am calling temp converter, right? And I'm saying 100 comma C to F, right? Now this will convert. Here I'm going to say C to like U function. So say this, I am calling temp converter and I'm passing 100 and I'm passing the function name. Now I'm passing a function name just like any variable. Just like any variable. Now, so you will have what? Function name. And now I'm saying you bracket open and close. So this temp converter will call another function. So you can pass function name as a variable, okay, and but to call you have to add bracket. So U is now representing C2F and it has this bracket. So now temp converter is calling your C2F. Now if I pass F to C, now F to C function will be called by this. Okay. So homework is modify the same old program in this way also. Right? If you want, you can copy down these 6 lines. So I have function here outside. I'm calling function using another function, but here I'm passing function name. I am telling function temp to call a specific function.
Sir, what are we doing right now?
Sorry, what I'm doing?
What are we doing right now? Because like you just said give us homework and then it all stopped, right? So that's it.
You can note down in paper then, pen and paper notebook. We will do another couple of examples.
I already copied the program down and then we have to make changes to it, right?
No, I'm saying just copy this first 6 lines. No, later you do the changes.
Yeah. That's all done.
Done, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Done? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is another way of calling function. Okay. Now you see, let's say I go to learn one. Okay. And I'm going to delete all this and I'm importing test1.py. Right? Test1. Now, if we know that, let's say you have done test1.py. Okay, you have written this module. Now, since you have already done all these things, temperature conversion, all these things, I want to use your own function, your function. So what I'll do, I'll attach here, and then I go to learn one, and I'll say import test1. Now, test1 will have all the functions available to me. Isn't it? All of these are F. All these F are available to me. I can call any function, correct? Now, let's say I just simply say import test1. And now I'll run learn one. So what happened is I'm just importing. Still everything that you have done here is called.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All these that we have done, I'm just doing import. Still, it is executing only. Okay, it will execute. See, all the things like running test1 only. Now, you do not want to run all the thing in test1, right? I am doing it, that's for my purpose. But you only want function, you don't want all these output to be printed. So, from now onwards, use this best practice. Do not start typing anything from anywhere. Okay, first line of your program should be something like this. If, okay, if main equal to main. Okay. Oh. Name, not main. If name equal to main. Okay. Okay. Then you write your first program. Okay. Every file should have this as your first text. Okay. Now, all these things, everything that you have done here, okay, should be in main. Should be in main. Functions should be outside this. Functions should be outside. But everything that you are calling, like this, should be where? Here. Okay. All the functions should be outside.
Yes, sir.
And everything that you're typing in main should be here. Okay, now let's go from line by line. See, this is a function. It can be, okay, it's the comment for function, so you can put it. Okay, it's a function. Okay, this is a function inside a function, works well. Function. Okay. Okay, so you can't have duplicate function, right, with the same name. So I'm calling it as conversion to, right? Now, all the calling, everything that you practice should be inside name equal to main. What does it do is, this name equal to main is called, it's a if condition, right? This is going to check the program file name. Okay, if the file name is same as this, where this file is, that means if you run test1, okay, you get all these things, right? Sorry, here you get all the output, right? But when I go to another module, another file, and I run import test1, okay, you won't get anything. What is that? It is checking the name of the file. And name of the file, from name is giving us the name of the file from which you are calling. If the name of the file is same as this current file, main means current file, current main, the main program. So if they are same, it will execute this if block. Otherwise, it will execute from this. So here, if I can go, okay, and I can put else here. Okay, no, if is in main, right? Else. So you have called me, right? So now if you run it, okay, learn one. So see, I'm calling learn one, isn't it? Learn one. This else part is completed. So this is how you control whether your file is being executed or some other file is executing your file. Some other file is executing your module or your file. Okay. if name equal to main. So from now on, whenever you're writing a new program, always start with this. Make sense? Especially when you want to create your module.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this will be called by your program. Okay, especially when you're planning a module, this is what you should do. You can write, you can test, whatever you can do this. But somebody is calling your file, they will not get to see what junk you have added. Okay, so now when I go to learn, and if I say import test1, you will not get those extra stuff. But when you call your program test1, you will get all those things. Okay, point one. Point two, before we end the session for today. Okay, so this is one way, import test1. Now, when you say import test1, then if you want to call a function, you have to say test1 dot function, right? F2, 1, 2, 3, right? So when I run this, okay, this is run. F2 is run. Now, when you say import test, all the functions are available. Okay. Now, let's say you don't want all the functions to be available. The reason is when you call this, right, all the functions get attached to your current file. So your current file become heavy, it will take a long time. Now, instead, I mean, here we are using only one module, but let's say if you are using 20, 30 modules, each module has 30, 40 functions. No, it is like attaching 500 functions to your file. It can become very heavy. So in that case, what we do is we will say we will not use import test. We'll say from test1 import. Okay. Now I'm going to say F2. Okay. From another way of importing functions, from module name import function. Now, if you do this, your F2 you can directly use. You don't have to say test1.f2. Okay, only directly you can say F2. You're importing only F2. You're not importing the module. You're importing only F2. So you can directly use F2 as if your F2 is written in your program, as if you have written the F2. And that's what happens when you do input print. You don't have to import anything. You simply say print, it happens because by default, every function will import those packages. If you want to add another function, you can say comma, okay, temp converter. Temp converter is also available, right? So now from now onwards, try to do this. Okay, we'll end it here today. Tomorrow, okay, online session. And we will do recursion and we will do some examples like date, time, operating system. Okay, we'll do that. We'll finish off. And then Monday we'll start with class and objects.